Okay, it's Valentine's Day weekend, but we gotta calm down with all the roses, the chocolate, the rom-coms. Oh, who am I kidding? I love this stuff. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today we're diving into the Netflix original movie To All the Boys, Always and Forever. It's the third and final installment in this awesome trilogy. I have really enjoyed every movie we've gotten so far. The first film really knocked my socks off because it's not like any of the other rom-coms on Netflix, and the sequel was just fine as well. But my biggest question was, is the third movie going to end this on a very high note? Now, before we get into that, guys, if it's your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I review movies like this early all the time, so if you like that, go ahead and hit the big red button below, stay subscribed to the channel, and tap on the bell so you just don't miss out on anything new, like my WandaVision reaction coming tomorrow, and another review for Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. That sounds like a wild ride. And let me know down in the comments below, guys, which movie of the three is your favorite. Okay, so let's dive into the film. It's directed by Michael Fimognari and starring Lana, Condor, Noah Centineo, and Janelle Parrish. It's senior year for Lara Jean, Peter, and the gang, and with that comes the very important decision of which college they're going to attend. Peter wants to go to Stanford, but does Lara Jean want that for herself, and will their relationship last or fall apart? This sounds generic, but let me stop you guys right there. It's really not, and that's because of the acting that sets it all apart. But before we get into all the acting, and man, Lana Condor, I just want her to get more roles in Hollywood, let's get into what this movie does well overall, and that really is taking what we've loved about the first two and sprinkling it over the course of this film. This is a very sweet send-off, and it is the most mature film of the three. It gives us lovable moments between Lara Jean and Peter, even really funny moments between her and Chrissy, and yes, Kitty is very good in this, but we also get very well-deserved screen time for Dr. Covey and Trina. So that was one thing I wanted to see more of, by the way, in the second film, and we didn't get that, but I'm so glad that a lot of our supporting cast, and our main cast of course, were dealt with in a good way. And speaking of supporting cast, guys, I'm a huge fan of Anna Cathcart's performance as Kitty, and she was just a much better fit here in the plot than in the second movie. There, she was a little chopped up in the first movie, she had me laughing, and here again, in the third film, she had me really hurting at my sides. It was just so good. Her comedic timing is awesome, and I love her on-screen presence. And that's what's so great about these three movies, is that yes, we got our amazing leads, but it's everyone else that creates the glue for these films. And what I really loved is that there's similar magic here that we found in the first movie, and that is due in large part to the ever-consistent, incredibly charming, and talented Lana Condor. I don't know what it is about her, but her acting is so vibrant. It is very inviting, and for me, it was incredibly relatable when she's going through her college acceptance letters, Stanford, NYU, etc., etc. I thought, oh my gosh, guys, this is what I was going through as well. And I love that the movie does give us some of those cliche tropey moments, but it allows Lana Condor and even Noah Centineo to just sort of act outside of the box. They are just making this their own. It's incredibly natural. So she's a complete gem, and here again, I really loved her chemistry with Noah Centineo. By now we know the deal. They're in love. This is an incredibly important time for their relationship, and it'll make or break them together. And when it comes to most rom-coms that I have watched on Netflix, I'm looking at you, Kissing Booth, the performances are very hit and miss. But for some reason, Noah Centineo just brings a very natural, calming approach. He grounds the movie sometimes. He just continues to knock it out of the park in all three of these films, and I just really can't say enough about both him and Lana Condor together. And it's also great to see what happens in that final scene. I say no more. It's a spoiler for your review. Let's move on, guys. The direction here by Michael Fimognari is also much improved. In the second movie, which yes, he also directed, I felt that he was missing a lot of beats, and the cinematic appeal that we got in the first movie was really lost in the second film, but here is more of a return to form. We do get a really cool blue tint to the film that gives it this very cinematic approach that I really think separates it from other rom-coms. He also flexes his muscle a little bit more and conveys a very sentimental, nostalgic, and tender tone to the movie. And To All the Boys 3 has some fun moments in New York City. Guys, it made me miss NYC quite a bit, but seeing them have so much fun on their school trip was just so warm. It really made me feel good to see them have all of this time to go and explore, and I felt like I was a part of them in their journey. There's also this scene including a sofa on a subway. You'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it this weekend, but it's those moments that really added a ton of charm to this film. And the last thing that this movie does so well that I made a note of is that the jokes were much funnier here. And outside of just the jokes, this third film really learned from its script issues. It gave us some very well-deserved moments, not only with Dr. Covey, guys, it gave us good moments with Chrissy and Trevor. I don't know what it is about those two, but I just love them together. However, for all the good things about this third movie, there were a couple of issues with the story. And we really start to see that in the first act, which honestly, as much as I love the snappy dialogue, I was a bit confused about the pacing. It felt a little clunky, and they were sort of skirting through a very important family trip in Seoul. I wanted to see Lana Condor and her family go to Korea, and we got that, which is great, but for like 5 or 8 or even 10 minutes, and that just wasn't enough time for me. And I get that they wanted to get into the thick of things, which is of course senior year, but I just really wish that they would have spent more time in that setting, because it didn't really do much for me to see it in a montage, and we get a lot of montages in that first act as well. And then there's also this decision to use a hand-drawn art style for transition that luckily goes away as the movie goes on, but it was clearly overdone. The first 20-25 minutes of this movie are clearly the worst of the entire film, but trust me, it does get better. There's also a subplot that really needed more massaging here. Throughout the trilogy, we hear of Peter's father's absence in his life, and while that does sound a little bit tropey, I feel like the movie could have made it work, and they tried. They brought in actor Henry Thomas. Y'all know Henry Thomas, right? You've seen Haunting of Hill House and whatnot. But here he pops in, you say, I know that face, and for 10 minutes they have a sort of conversation. It might have even been less than 10 minutes at a diner, and that could have been a definitive moment, and a lot of character development could have been brought in for Peter Kavinsky's character. Instead, it felt like something just to push along the plot. And while that was a wasted moment, there were some wasted moments as well with our supporting cast. I did mention that I loved Chrissy and Trevor together, but individually, they were a little weak, and I think that the writing for Chrissy was probably the worst of the trilogy. It didn't feel natural. There weren't many funny jokes like she was making in the first movie, and when you get the heart-to-heart conversations with her and Lara Jean, to me, she felt more invisible. Not in a bad way, but it's just the writing. She's there, she's making the best of the script. But I do not think that Madeleine Arthur was used in the best way here. So with all those negatives aside, guys, what I have to say is that overall, To All the Boys Always and Forever is a very sweet bookend to a trilogy that I've come to really love. This movie is incredibly effective at what it wants to accomplish, which is concluding the story, giving us some really good moments, and making everyone feel like they got a nice send-off. And that's the thing. This movie succeeds at that, which makes it a very successful sequel. And as the movie went on, I could tell that, man, it got better and better, and fans of this series really will laugh and cry, just like I did. But y'all will never see me cry on camera. That's a lie. Lana Condor and Noah Centineo really are the standouts here yet again, but trust me when I tell you guys, there's so much to love about this movie, and it really does make you want to go back and rewatch all 3 movies again. This has been quite the experience for me. I've always wanted to watch these films as they were released, but I just, recently watched the first 2 films and then got into this third movie, and it made me a Lana Condor fan, but it also showed me that, gosh, Netflix and rom-coms, they can really do something special together if they're given the right amount of talent, direction, and writing. And that's what we see here in To All the Boys, Always and Forever. So if you're looking for a very sweet movie this Valentine's Day weekend, this is the film for you. Guys, even if you're not a fan of the series and you haven't seen all 3 films, I just recommend you go back and binge watch them this weekend because it's worth the ride. There's something very special about that final moment, and it really made my heart sing. So To All the Boys, Always and Forever, I got love for you. Well, there you have it, guys. That is my real review of a film that I probably would give a 3.5, 4 star to. But guys, I want to know what you guys have to say about the film, so go ahead and get loud in the comments below and let me know, is this your favorite of the 3, and where does it rank for you among the other 2 movies? And if you haven't, go ahead and smash that big red button below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell because, guys, this weekend is about to be fun. Did I also mention that we're getting a Snyder Cut trailer on Sunday? Alrighty, y'all. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. And now I really want chocolate. Yeah, the Lindor matcha chocolate things, they're so delicious.